Okay, so good morning, and yeah, it's another bi-weekly Analects class. So yeah, thanks Darwin for joining. Okay, so I think before we begin, we will do the prayer first, and then we will jump into the class. Okay, so to have all sentient beings, we might. Sorry, do you have the text or I can't totally recite that.
In order to benefit all sentient beings and have the causes for genuine and lasting happiness, and to establish not just ourselves in that, but other sentient beings, we aspire to cultivate the path, to become Buddhas ourselves, perfect in merit and wisdom, and establish Pure Lands in order to benefit all other sentient beings. So, for that reason, we will study the Confucian Analects. In particular, this text helps us develop our mental states, our mindset, ways of relating to the world, developing social harmony, leadership skills, and all of these, any of the merits that come from these developments, these skills, we dedicate towards this cause. So again, this is all beginning with the aspiration for enlightenment or bodhicitta that comes and is rooted in compassion or the wish to establish mother sentient beings and genuine happiness. So thank you, Teacher Vivian.
Thank you, Volleyball. So, thank you. And before we begin, I was thinking maybe every time we have different workaway volunteers joining us, so maybe we would also ask everyone to introduce a little bit about themselves, so then have a memory or record that you're joining us. Okay, so I will shift the aspect and yeah, so maybe just
Hey,
briefly.
hello.
Hi, I'm Eve. Um, I've gone through all of these videos. And I'm reading the book right now.
Nice.
Read it into English. Um, yeah, I find these really amazing. Oh my goodness. And I was thinking yesterday how lucky I am to be able to study it here and with you and Jason and and from Teacher Kong, like where you're able to like break down the words and the language in such like a beautiful way, and how lucky I am to be able to have found you to be able to for me to be able to learn this from. So yeah, thank you. Oh my gosh. Well, isn't that exaggerated? But yeah, thank you. Thank you for no, I mean I'm not teaching, but just more like a I think it's a very cultural thing to do as well, like for everyone to experience and have a glimpse of the traditional Chinese culture. Yeah, so I'm also learning and just, wondering.
Channeling Confucius's spirit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it's somehow related to the verse that we are talking today. So, if we look at the framework, like the holistic mind, so we are now in talking about the entering the flow state of learning. Yeah, so I think flow. I have this book here, and it's very international, well known. I'm not sure if Darwin or if you have read this before, but it's also based on a psychologist. Yeah, so it's talking about the psychology of optimal experience is called flow. Yeah, so Teacher Tang used this flow state to kind of connect with Confucius. So it's also quite interesting. Yeah, so flow, mainly the idea is that, people get into this very focused state that they kind of forget about time, because they're so immersed in the learning or immersed in that activity, then afterwards, they got, better mental state, and then they are also better in, connecting with other people. Yeah, so then the psychologists are kind of doing experience to find out what the flow state is and how people get into the flow state. Yeah, the definition, that kind. So yeah, so this is kind of the in our framework today that we are connecting, and the verse that Teacher Tang picked is over here. So I will read it in Chinese first, and then I give a brief explanation. So this verse is on page 141, if we have this big book here. Yeah, so it's called 社公问孔子于子路，子路不对。子曰：汝昔不曰，其为人也。发愤忘食，乐以忘忧，不知老之将至云尔。Yeah, so 社公 in here. The circle, this is a person's name, and he was kind of just an officer back then. Yeah, but then there are also, the nobility have been divided into five status, but then he kind of claimed himself that he's a duke. Yeah, so duke is kind of really a high rank, but then he kind of named himself very high rank. So just a little bit background for you to understand this person. So this person asked a student called Zilu. So who is Zilu? Zilu is, I want to visualize this student, this person here. So Zilu is also a very famous student under Confucius. Like he's well known for, if you see on the picture, like he's kind of those big guy. Like back then he was like a we call it manga, like manga. Those they are very rude, and then they talk very very frankly without really getting themselves like a scholar. And like he's very brave. Like he's well known for his braveness. Yeah, because in other verse it also mentioned that Confucius wants to maybe try to help others by getting some army over something, and only like Zilu will stand out like, yeah, teacher, we should go, or yeah, I'm the one who will go with you. If you want to just sail on a boat and find a way out, I will go with you. Like that, he's that kind of person. Yeah, so it's very different. Like, and when we study over all the different verses, we can also see different characters of Confucius students. Yeah, some are very decent or quiet, and some are very frank and brave, introverts, extroverts, etc. Yeah, but then Confucius are able to kind of make everyone in a harmony, like an orchestra. Like, so I keep the good parts of you here, but I also tune you on your, disadvantage, and then yeah, etc. etc. So this duke asked like Zilu about Confucius, like asking the student like, how would you describe your teacher? Yeah, and then this student like Zilu didn't reply or didn't say anything. Yeah, so I think this is something that happened, and then the teacher knew about that. So then the teacher said, so this is an old word that means you. Yeah, although it looks like a woman. Yeah, but it's also mean you back then. Yeah, so why don't you say like, my personality is that I work really hard that I forget about food. We can discuss that later. And then I'm so joyful that I forget about my worries, and also I don't feel like time passed by and I'm already getting old. Yeah, that's all. So Confucius used three things to reply that, like, if you want to describe me, why not you use these three things to describe? So yeah, then why would teacher pick this to connect with flow, right? Like when we mentioned about flow is getting focused learning and people would be feeling better. Then why this verse? Yeah. So I will get a pause here, and maybe I will ask maybe like vulnerable first. Like if someone like asks you to describe your personality, like what would you say?
I don't know what I would say. What did I say? that like I would just say, oh, this is someone that has like more coffee in their blood than blood, and that's it. And yeah, yeah, I think that's it. Hmm, yeah,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
how about you?
Um, for me it describes like ADHD medication. I'm like, yeah, someone who's really like loves what they're doing, and you love it so much that you have like no other thoughts that are popping into your head, and you were just so happy with it. You're not hungry. You're not. Yeah, you're.
This is how you would describe yourself, right? That was your question.
Yeah,
How would you
your
describe
person.
yourself? Yeah.
That was
That's
the
how.
question.
Yeah.
Whoops, I
Yeah.
forgot.
Then you're next, Darwin.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm preparing myself. Sweating bullets.
Oh, oh, then yeah. It's just it's usually like there's like a mystery, like there's something there's like you're like there's so many like new things to learn, and it's so exciting that you like find something new, and like that something new means that there's like another question, and so you just keep doing that, and so you're like, oh no, hours have gone by.
So that is also what feels like to you, right? Okay. How about Darwin?
Let's see. Like, probably if I were to like try to objectively talk about myself, like I don't know, like a confidently ignorant being.
No, you're too humble for that. How about James? You want to share?
Say curiosity because I like new things and want to discover it and also like to read so it's a good, I think it's good part to join the using the English to read analects again.
Okay.
That was fun.
Okay. Yeah. For me, I think maybe I would say uh I I do things maybe I try to do things in a sincere way. If I feel like so, I would do like so. If I don't feel like, maybe I would also show easily on my expression. Yeah, but trying to keep myself honest in a way. Yeah, maybe I would say that. Yeah. But I think that's, when I think about this question, I just realized it's kind of hard to picture oneself just within few sentences. Like to describe my own personality. There are so many things that I can say to you, like I was born in blah blah blah, and I was grew up like blah blah blah, and I like doing blah blah blah. But like, how can I pinpoint down few things that for people to just picture about me? Yeah. And then if we like look at this verse again, like there are so many things that Confucius talk about, like also what we studied before, maybe Confucius would say, like you should learn a lot. You should also feel curiosity, and you all should also like there are many things. You should ask questions decently, things like that. But then why, like Confucius should pick these three? Yeah, it's kind of like then it draws more question about that. So the first thing that he said was like he is so hardworking that he forgets about food. So how does that sound to you? Like someone's is working so hard that they forget about food? Isn't that so? Then are they turning into some kind of goddess that they don't need to eat anymore? Like they just smell books and then they will stay alive? Yeah.
I immediately think of like toxic work environment. That maybe there's some sort of like really heavy social pressure, that you only work and you just like can't even think about food because you just have so many responsibilities. But I know that's not what's being said. So I like that you thought, oh, like a divine being, and I thought like the worst human being possible. Um, yeah, I mean, I think I've experienced that where like I get really absorbed in something and then I just like forget to like drink water or go to the bathroom or eat or something, for a while. Eventually you do have to, eat and do things. But yeah, there are sometimes things can be so interesting that you lose a sense of your own needs. Yeah, so I think that's what's being pointed at.
Yeah, exactly. Like people would say, "Oh, is it that then are you trying to encourage people not to eat?"
Yeah.
There's also another verse it also says that like 君子, like those noble people that they should you know don't look for food that much, that they should think more.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah. So are we really translating that? Yeah, it's rather no. Yeah, we know that. So it's just meaning that Confucius was getting into something that he can forget about, food or things like that doesn't mean that he doesn't need food, but more like food isn't that important to him. Like that's not the main consideration for him. Like he would rather focus his time or efforts into things that he find meaningful, or he find that he can be entering that flow state, uh, yeah, rather than always look for food. Yeah, just as in Volleyball's example, like there are some like my colleagues sometimes when you try to think about lunch all the time, that means that the work doesn't interest you at all. Already like 11 a.m. you're already thinking, what should I eat for lunch? Yeah, that's
What will they feed you?
yeah, my purpose here today is just to like go out with my colleagues to have lunch. So that's not the case. Yeah.
Personal
So
experience.
yeah, also. So yeah, this is what Confucius wants to emphasize. And if we look into this, it's also mean like one is able to forget themselves, because kind of food or drink is representing essential living things, right? Yeah, like clothings or materialistic things that are baseline for living. Yeah. And Confucius is not really looking into that, and then is aiming something higher, and that higher things is also bringing him the flow state. Yeah, if one cannot enter the flow state, then how would one be able to forget about themselves? Because the self is rather the biggest thing, or the most difficult thing when we are cultivating, we want to break through, that. So yeah, this is the case. Yeah, so it's Confucius would forget about himself, and this is like the first part. Okay, so then
So,
the second
can I ask a question about the first part?
yeah, sure, please.
So does he frame it as a good thing that he becomes so absorbed in his studies, yeah, he forgets to eat? Yeah, is that considered a positive overall?
mm, but then how would you define positive or negative?
So I guess that I guess in terms of Buddhism, whether it's a skillful thing to do, whether it's skillful for this to happen, that they become so absorbed that they forget to eat, forget to like nourish themselves a little bit.
Mm, I think, well, if we just look at this verse, it didn't really mention good or bad, because
Hmm.
the main thing is that Confucius wants to use these three things to kind of represent himself. When
Okay.
someone is asking his student, how should
Mhm.
I, learn about your teacher? Maybe you can use these three things for others to learn about you. But
Mhm.
he didn't really encourage you to do so or not.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
of
He's just
course,
describing himself and then, okay.
yeah. But if we kind of zoom out and check the context into maybe like Buddhism, like the six perfections, diligence is also being emphasized
Hmm.
as one of the six perfections, and or like the Tiantai Samatha Vipassana, when we talk about the basic conditions that practitioners should gather, like you know putting down a little bit of yourself is critical, because
Hmm.
if you aren't able to put down yourself, then how would you be able to be focused into concentration and
Yeah.
enter calmness? Yeah.
Hmm.
Because versus that state, you will be like thinking a lot, like, oh, what should I do next? Although I'm sitting here chanting the Buddha, but maybe I will think about some delicious food or delicious or beautiful scenery, things like that. So
Mhm.
yeah, then I think it's depends on the context. Maybe in Buddhism we can adapt this expression or this kind of manner and apply into the practice. Yeah, that
Mhm.
would be a
Okay.
positive thing to do.
All right, that makes sense, yeah, because like Venerable Myogen was saying that yeah, there can be, you can enter a flow state in anything, right? Technically, like a toxic work environment, they give you a ton of work. You can enter a flow state in that. You're not enjoying it, of course, but you can enter a flow state. Same with me, like I guess my own experience, I'm working late on like a paper or something, and I do not like it at all. I'm staying up late, I'm tired, but I'm still entering a flow state of like working late into the night, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
Mhm.
So it's like I was just thinking in terms of yeah, like whether yeah, I guess they don't frame it as good or bad. It's just that's who he describes himself as. But yeah, there can be good versions of that, bad versions of that, and obviously there's a limit too as well, right? Because the middle way, you don't want to like overexert yourself, which the Buddha did, became an ascetic, right? So that's too extreme, right? You don't want to go all so far, but the middle way essentially, right? So I don't know how that sort of if that can apply to this situation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I think the flow state, if we if we follow the definition, of by this psychologist, because this psychologist called Mihaly,
No idea.
yeah,
Something Mahalia.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. It's a long one.
I think he is a Hungarian,
Yeah.
yeah, Hungarian psychologist, because that flow, this term is being invented by him. Yeah, I think it's invented by this person, but people would like join into this view into doing experience, and so flow has its own kind of definition, so it's not just focused, because
Hmm.
if we talk about toxic working environment, people can stay focused and they can still
Hmm.
work hard, but that might not be really flow. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's meaning that you find something meaningful and then that challenge level is a slightly higher than what your ability is. So
Hmm.
it's not too much, far from your ability, or else it becomes scarce, like a
Hmm.
horrible thing.
Torture state.
Yeah, torture
Yeah.
state. Yeah.
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 But like flow state, it's somehow a little bit challenge, and you also get immediate feedback or response, then you know how you're doing. So then like you can continue working on it, and that allows you to forget about time or self easier. And
Hmm.
one also very important thing is that you are enjoying. Yeah, you're
Hmm.
not being pushed by other
Oh, I
people.
see. You have to, according to the, yeah, I guess Mihali's, yeah, definition, you have
Yeah,
to have enjoyment essentially to be in flow state.
yeah. So yeah,
Okay,
flow.
gotcha.
Mm.
And I think my example I was giving was just like one example of like, oh, doing something and then not thinking about food until much later. But I
Hmm.
I think from this example, from what you've said, it seems that it's more like I've forgotten the to chase after food or like to prioritize it. So it's like not that he's saying he just never eats or he's encouraging people to study and not eat, and that's like, the ideal thing, but that he's just not like putting a ton of effort or energy into like what will I eat and like chasing after
Hmm.
food and like, is this delicious or not delicious? Like I forgot about putting food at the top of my list.
Mm.
And
Hmm.
often food's the top of our list. We're like, I'm hungry, I can't do anything now,
Hmm.
I'm grumpy, whatever. I have to eat, and then I have to like it has to be good, and if it's not good,
Yeah.
then we get more upset and like all this kind of stuff. So I'm imagining this is what's meant by forgetting
Mm.
food. Like you still eat and do what you need to do, right? But not with that like elaborate level that we sometimes engage in around food.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Where like our whole day is structured around food. Like these are my
Yeah.
meals are, this is where I'm gonna go. I thought about it the day before, Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe this is more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Well,
An experience that I came across at my work is that because I work in a booking platform, so people would book restaurants through our platform. Yeah. So I was trying to recruit some users for user interviews. So I have to call them and ask a little bit how their booking habit is. And then somewhat I came across some users that they're getting so much time into booking into restaurants. Like they will really like investigate which credit card gives them more rewards.
Yeah.
And then like maybe Tuesday this restaurant get higher discounts and Thursday is another. So they would try to plan ahead the whole week of what they are going to eat. And then they will also dig into like this credit cards give I have this maybe like American Express that's give me high discount, but then why your platform didn't offer that?
Yeah.
You know, I book through you, I need to use this, you know, to get rewards, and or I go to this restaurant because they are giving me an extra dish. You know, if that booking platform gives me two dish, then like oh, like they really spend so much time into organizing this. So
There's that type. I know someone, it's a little off topic, but she did a similar thing with price and cost and weight and quality and deals with like cat food. And she made a whole Excel sheet. It was like a hobby, you know, and then she was like, I've researched. And then she updates it, you know, as she finds things. So there can be this type of like very much data driven, you know, like I'm gonna find the best, most delicious deal, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a certain type.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like some people might really enter flow state
Mm.
into doing this, but
Yeah.
then maybe afterwards we can also discuss then what kind of flow state are we looking for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so I think first point over here. Then the second one is that Confucius is so joyful that he forgets about his worries. That doesn't also sound logical to me because we have so many worries as humans. Like, well, maybe you are not worried about food, okay, but then maybe you will worry about your future. You know, where are you going to live? Or you know, he is teaching so many students. So, oh, which like all the students, how should I you know tune them, right? Like I mentioned that they have different characters, like how should I tune them so then they work well as an orchestra. Or I would worry that, you know, back then there were you know, the countries are kind of chaotic. They are all small countries, but they also get into conflict easily. So then the whole situation isn't that stable. It isn't like us here, like, oh, the stock would just go up and then my money will come into my bank account. Isn't like that. Like there's so many things that Confucius can worry, and also that he wants to, like his wish is to put the Tao out, right? Like to um like get more people to know about Tao or to follow the politeness or things that you know that was emphasized. So how would like Confucius not get into worries? Like how does that, you know, sound to you? Mm.
oh, are you asking like how does he do that?
Yeah.
Is it, I don't know, he just gets into flow state and then
If what do you think? Because you're also in the psychology background, like is there something similar that might you might have come across?
Um. Oh. Well, I got like I guess like when I think about like learning feelings or like some of these feelings like curiosity or awe, or we do have these like feelings that do kind of like absorb us. And then in those moments where I guess you're in a state like this and you have these emotions that are so like you're standing on a mountain and you're like looking out at something and you're like, wow.
Mm-mm.
I guess maybe you can also look down and be like, I can fall. But maybe in those moments, it's more of like a feeling of awe or joy or fear, and then that's just there's no word. I don't know.
Wonderful. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, and
Yeah.
connecting it to the other, if they're all set, right? It's like when he is doing his work or his study, he doesn't prioritize food and he puts his worries to the side and just enjoys what he's doing. It's not that they go away. He's just like focused on what he's doing and he finds something good in it, I would say. But it's not that the worries go away, right? Or it could be also that he sees the worries or difficulties, they're still there. They're just not seen as worries. They're seen as something to enjoy and overcome and change and grow with, right? Kind of gets from ULA vibes. That we change our perspective of the situation, and then we've forgotten that it's a worry, and instead it becomes an opportunity. Right?
Yeah, for me, in the beginning, I would think like, if like we talk about food stuff, when we are in the flow state, we can forget about that. But after, like when I come out from that flow state, I will still go to eat, right? Then how about worries? Like if I can forget worries when I'm enjoying something, but then when I come out from the flow state, then all my worries will be all over me. Then how would I say I'm still very happy and joyful? So I think this is another level, maybe a slightly higher than this, is because this might be just during that flow state. This is some kind of power that has been extended after the flow state. Yeah. And within the flow state, I forget about worries. That is like, I think we can all agree because we can forget about self. But then that worry is that maybe during that flow state, when you get into meaningful things, which is then we can discuss further about what kind of flow state are we looking for. Then the worries could be, small worries could be like after a period of time, it won't be that much a bother anymore. That will be small kinds of worries. But like the middle or the large worries is that you maybe learn through, you get into new perspective, then you see that worries in a different way, then that you don't really break through that worry in a very hard way or difficult way. Like when we think about when we want to solve difficulties, we might have an image that, oh, we have to work so hard and we have to like work through it, and then I have to cry a lot or feel a lot of suffering and pain until I really break through that difficulty. But if we can see it in a different perspective, or our mindset change, then the whole interpretation change. So we can just break that very, very easily and very lightfully. Yeah, it doesn't really have to be a suffering way. Yeah. So then what kind of flow state would allow us to do that would be what we can also further look into, because kids nowadays, they would maybe get into video games or internet browsing or YouTube. Then they also forget about time. They can forget about food. They forget about themselves, and they are also very, into very flow state. But does that really help them to solve their problems? Yeah. Or afterwards, would that bring them more joy? So I think here, if we connect to what Confucius has been doing, although it wasn't mentioned in this verse, but through other verse, we can know that Confucius studied a lot and he focused on that Tao because he wants to push that out to like others to learn and follow. So he see that as a very meaningful thing to do, and he doesn't really do that for himself only. He has been thinking about what could benefit others. So then if we kind of jump into the Buddhism context, when we mention about diligence in the six perfections, actually that diligence can also break down into three levels or aspects. Like the first level is that you put on how do you call that? You know, when the army put on
Armor?
huh? Armor, yeah, maybe like
Metal?
metal,
Armor.
Bulletproof vest.
Yeah, they put on the armor shield that represent their wish, like their wish to, because someone work really hard because they see the goal or they see that meaningful behind, so then they're able to make that wish and put on that shield. So that armor shield is like representing someone's wish that no matter what kind of challenges or difficulties that they face, they're able to, work through it. That's the first level of diligence. Then the second level would be, oh, hey, my ability grows, and then I want to help others. I don't get myself hurt, but then when my abilities also increase, I can try to help other people as well. Yeah. And then the third level would be like I ultimately just want to help others in order to benefit myself. Yeah, so that is also stages when we talk about hardworking or diligence, which is also very closely connected to Bodhisattva precepts. It's also in the three aspects. So yeah, then that flow state that one would get into, I think it's not hard to imagine, it's also very different. Like the first is to satisfy your own wish, then it is because you want to benefit others, and then ultimately to benefit others and help yourself. Yeah, so that meaningful things isn't comparable to just watching TV or opening Netflix, etc. Yeah, and it's also quite different to maybe like Western. In the Western countries, people may see Buddhism as just meditation. That would be just a little bit pity as well, because meditation is, people would think, oh, I don't need to think about anything, and I can enter into this calmness. I can be surrounded into the nature. But then afterwards, they might still face worries. There are still daily life problems that would come over that they don't know how to solve it, and then they would rely heavily on just getting into that quiet meditation. Yeah.
Yeah, so with the kids in games or like Netflix, the Netflix hole, the black hole of Netflix, people will watch for like 6 or 8 hours in a row, and then the Netflix is like, "Are you still watching?" And he's like, "No, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's only been 4 hours." But I joke this is kind of samadhi, and we talk about the absorption states, and people can like call your name or snap or make a noise, and you don't leave, you don't eat, you don't drink, you don't move out of the bed. Or kids very easily do this, but like, what's the resultant state? Like you said, what kind of wisdom is generated, right? It's a kind of concentration, or absorption. And a similar thing has been said about meditation. We were at our conference, and someone came up and asked myself and another monastic about how to deal with thoughts that come up about the past, things that you've done or difficulties or worries that you have, right? And they're like, I meditate, and when I'm meditating, I can kind of step away from that, but sometimes these things just loop, and I get kind of stuck in a thought loop. And so I just deferred and let the other monastic respond. And her response was basically, oh, you just need to meditate more, right? Because the more that you're meditating, the less you'll get pulled into these kinds of thought habits and patterns, because you'll just block them out with the force of your concentration. And that's the goal. And I was just like, we have very different viewpoints, because that solution was really just stay in this kind of calmness, right? And I think I offered something else about what we like look at, like what the attachment or aversion is, and like the nature of that experience or that thought, like genuinely understand how it's arising, why it's arising, what's drawing you to it, like analyze it, and then apply antidotes, and it's the concentration can help you do that consistently, right? But or you can just stay in the concentration and block it out, but it's still floating there in your mind, and I wonder this too, like with the joy that's found that he forgets the worries. If it's the joy that arises from studying and knowledge and wisdom, that then when you encounter the worries, you forget that they're worries, right? You have wisdom to rely on, so you've changed your relationship to them as well. But yeah, the kids in video games is like, yeah, we can find all kinds of samadhi. We can actually enter it. People think, oh, meditation is very hard, but we do it all the time. Just on unwholesome things. Wholesome meditation is a different issue.
What you just said just reminds me. I wonder so if what you're working on or what you're learning about is your worry. And so you're learning about ways to think about that, or you're thinking about ways to tune your orchestra to deal, and that helps with those worries, where it's like, okay, it's not just the worry that I'm thinking about, as I'm thinking deeply, not about the worry in like it's overcoming me and I'm afraid, but I'm thinking about the worry in okay, so how can I learn about the worry so I can understand it, and then it's not just a worry, it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there are a few aspects like what you mentioned is true. Like you learn about how you should face that worry. So afterwards you're able to kind of conquer it. Yeah. And like Teacher Tang also mentioned, like when we study or have classes, there are scenarios that we might have not faced before and we don't believe we would face, but that's the good time that we are kind of preparing ourselves, just as in maybe like an example is preparing for war, like you need to get your guns and bullets ready, but not when you face that scenario you try to start preparing your guns and bullets. That would it's too late. Yeah, you have to prepare that and bear in mind, and when you face that scenario, oh, like I knew about that before. This is a case. And another thing I think here is also mentioned, as in that joyfulness that Confucius get is much bigger than his worries. When that ratio has outseeded that worriness, then or he would be thinking, then I don't really have much worries to worry about. Yeah, because I have so much confidence into what I'm doing, and then what should I be afraid? Yeah, of course there are uncertainties that I'm still facing, or there are problems I need to keep on like solving it out, but then that confidence and joyful that I get is already enough for me to face that. Yeah, like I discussed this verse a little bit with Jason as well, and he said, "Oh yeah, like our example as well, because we joined ULA, I think around 3 years, 2, 3 years ago. And their semesters, like ULA is getting so busy with all the classes, and there's also activities. So we would follow teacher to go abroad to do other stuff, and like so busy. Like we also need to work on our full-time job. But then we kind of like find that out, like although it's really busy and our body seems to be really exhausted, but we don't really get much worry. Yeah, like, but rather like during summer holidays or winter holidays, all worries will come up. I think when we didn't think about or worry that much during the semester, seems like, oh, then when the classes stop, they would come out again. Yeah, like this is what we do, like also experience before. And I believe there are also other activities that perhaps you have experienced that would pull you away from that worriness. And facing worriness, like learning is a thing, but that doesn't mean you have to also go straight into that worriness directly when you feel like you can't do it. Getting a little bit detached, or try to look back at it slightly after is also a way. Mm, mm, yeah.
So is the joy that Confucius is talking about, does it mean that it's, I guess, yeah, both people talked about both different things, but is it like a permanent, like forgetting of worry, like, or is it just temporary? So I know we sort of people sort of discussed that, but I still, I guess, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it, whether it's permanent or temporary, because of this joy in learning, or yeah, this joy overall.
Mm, mm,
Uh,
Is it temporary or
Permanent, yeah.
Long lasting.
mm, mm,
Like, yeah.
what do you think?
What do I think?
I
I
don't think it's just temporary, because if it's just temporary, why would it be emphasized within the free?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I would say it's temporary, but it's dependent on the engagement and the effort and the cause, you know. So as long as that's happening, then yeah, there's a joy, right? And it's like one of those kinds of like a loop, right? Like, oh, I have joy and I do more of it, you know, and I do more of it and I have joy, right? But like you said, once you get pulled away, or other environmental conditions might change it for
Okay.
them. I don't know
So,
if I know all of the
hmm.
analects, but like, are there other times where Confucius expressed some sort of distress, you know?
of course,
Right, you know,
yeah.
so it's not that it just completely negated any type of worry, but I think
Mm,
it's saying in that way that, you know, I'm not preoccupied by my worry
mm,
time,
okay.
you know,
So, so you
because I have
wouldn't,
this joy. Yeah. Because
so,
sometimes people are like doing something, living life, but no matter what they do, they're just constantly preoccupied with worries
mhm,
and stress, right?
yeah.
So, yeah, just like I think with the food, it's not that he 100% forgot he's never has to eat again, you know, like you said, became some kind of divine being. And I think in the same way, he's not just like, yeah, life's great all the time, you know. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
maybe
Yeah,
So
indeed.
it's not the joy of nirvana, then
not
it's a
to.
more it's a lower level joy, I guess, or a more temporary joy, not the joy of liberation.
Yeah, like if someone would always be like smiling, so happy, then you would be like, right? And but I
Suspicious.
yeah, but I think the point is that maybe Confucius is able to control his emotions, or also utilize his emotions in a correct way. No, like the animation called emotions, or what? That Pixar.
So there was like sadness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Like
yeah, anger or sadness somewhat would save you in a good way as well. So it doesn't mean it's a negative thing. So like also as Bellable mentioned, like in other verse, Confucius was also like mock about his situation, or like sighing things out, like
Mm.
like I can't work things out, like things
yeah.
like that. So he isn't really always that full of passion, like
Mhm.
yeah, he isn't like that kind of teacher. So
Okay.
yeah, I think it's a good question, like is it a temporary or permanent, but yeah.
Is the
Okay.
movie teacher telling is he a Buddha or not? You know?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. Like, what level is he? What boomy is he, right?
Right? Yeah.
Maybe hard to say like all or none.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We will jump into the last bit. It will be like the third part is uh uh I then I just don't feel like growing old and time just passed by like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So these two words is also like kind of old word using that means that's all. Yeah. So like, oh, I just grow old or time pass by. That's all. Like that's all that I would describe about myself. Yeah. So yeah. So if we look back, then it's like forget about oneself, and then forget about worries, and then this is kind of forget about time. Yeah, forget about time. Yeah, just grow up like that.
And that's all
Yeah,
three, right?
that's
Yeah.
all. That's all. Yeah. So like growing old and look back, it's also like maybe a question that I can like ask everyone here. Maybe Darwin first. Like
Yeah.
imagine if you're like 80 years old today.
Mhm.
Like what would you feel happy that you might have spent your life learning or doing?
Yeah, like so, yeah, studying the Dharma, of course, it's studying, learning different things. But yeah, I mean, the most important thing, well, if you look at it in the context of what ULA teaches, right, then it would be like what's next right after this because we have to prepare for what's next. Like this life is temporary, right? So according to that perspective, you have to get yourself ready, practice, progress along the path. And then whatever comes next, hopefully you get a good rebirth, possibly a Pure Land rebirth, whatever, like the best you can do, right? Pretty much.
Mhm.
So that's the most important thing, right? So
How about you?
If I was 80 years old, I feel like I'd be really happy that I was on this trip. And that I went to school and that I had like a very lucky family and friends and teacher. Yeah, I feel like the people that I have in my life and the experiences that I've had, I would be very happy with those.
About James?
I would say keep open-minded to new things because every age you have new things come out. When you're getting old, you should be open-minded to that, and it will make me happy because I just living is not that old. Enjoy everyone have new things.
Like stick to the moment.
Yes, to the moment and maybe new technology.
Well, I don't know. I think, as I've talked before, I think my situation is slightly different. Because I think I accepted death in a way, and that was very formative for me more early on. So now it's like very much like, oh, I'm ready to die. It's fine. It's not great, but it's sad, but I'm prepared, right? But as I think if I lived longer, then it's just like, can I look back without regrets? And think that I spent my time well. And so when I hear that, I think the same, like, oh, I spent my time well, but I wasn't questioning my morality, or my morality, my mortality, my mortality. Question your morality, don't question your morality. But that, I wasn't like worried, like, oh, I'm aging, I'm losing all these opportunities, I'm gonna have no energy, and I'm not beautiful anymore, I'm gonna miss out, and then I'm gonna die, and like wow, 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 so I think that like it's just like, oh, I was focused on what I was doing, I have joy, I did my best, and then now I'm eating, and that's that, right? And that's all there is to it, and I made the best of the situation. um so yeah, I consider that a bit, maybe it is flow state where you're not thinking about time passing, or maybe it is uh just doing things in such a way that you're not prioritizing, what you're going to miss out on or your loss or other things, but you've, put your time in meaningfully. Yeah. Or
Yeah,
maybe.
that's very great.
Because I think with flow state too, like there's bad, like we are talking about torture flow state with work. But I've also heard too, like when people experience tremendous pain or like childbirth, right? They're like, oh, it was like 15 hours, but it felt like 20 years, they have a different sense of time, expansion or contraction, right? Or they're having a good time and then like the whole day goes by in an instant. So it's kind of funny how that happens. Like good time, think time goes fast. Bad time, time expands.
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah.
Anyway.
I think this is what yeah, it's a very good way to connect with the last bit here, because like Confucius is just so focused, and he kind of like see that as the best thing that he could do, like with no regrets, and then that time just passed by so quickly. Yeah, as in like 10 or 20 years would just be like few months.
Yeah.
And so then he's so engaging with every moment. Yeah, that he doesn't really think about other. So like another example like Teacher Town would give is that how would one feel regret or knowing that what they really lose is that, you know, we don't really know what we are losing because we're doing things, we don't have another self that is working parallel with different decisions. So how would we know we lose something? Is that when we choose to do one thing and we kind of compare that, oh, I'm so lucky that I make this decision. If not, then I would really lose this. This is what we then know. If we didn't choose this path, we are what are we losing? I hope that is,
Yeah,
can you comprehend?
Yeah.
Is it too?
No, it's and people get stuck in that. They're like, well, I chose this, and then they have doubts, right? And they're like, well, I chose this, and I know it's good, and I think it's good. But then there's like a doubt in the back of their mind, like if I chose something else, maybe that would have been better,
Yeah.
right? And I think what you're saying is like, no, instead you're just very confident
Yes.
that what you're choosing is good and helpful,
Yeah.
and so you're not concerned about all the other paths
Yeah.
that could be there. It's just
Yeah. Like,
I'm gonna reflect back to make sure I understand.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Opportunity cost.
Yeah.
Like the thing that you choose is that you are so glad that you make this choice. If not, then you would have a big lose. Then you are able to compare, you know, what you get. Yeah. So I think in here, like what Confucius said is that he didn't show any jobs at all. Like my time just passed by. I forget about myself, I forget about food, and then forget about worries, and time just passed by so quickly. So I think then this three is what Confucius wants to, you know, show his student that's you can picture about me. Yeah, my personality, my character is that I do it in this way. So yeah, I think this is a very great one that Teacher Tong choose this and connect with flow. And flow is also within the framework is one of the like important conditions that one should gather when you want to create a holistic mind. Because you know, a mindset, you have different cause and conditions to in order to fine-tune your mindset. Yeah. So then how you should look for that flow state and how you should spend your flow state and, you know, be confident about that would be also a thing that we can think through and connect with our daily life. Yeah. Okay. Oliver,
Yeah.
do you have any add-ons?
No, great, thank you.
Okay, so Darwin, is it okay? Like
Thank you for going through this passage. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I think then time is about time. So I will stop recording here and we would
Yeah, we can stop recording and then do the
sure,
communication.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.